John Thomas Saxon was born March 29, 1858 in Williamstown, Victoria. It's understood that when John's mother remarried to an Adam Wakenshaw, they moved to Euroa. John's early working life was mainly labouring jobs until he found work in the timber industry. In March 1882, John Thomas Saxon married Isabella Allen Garrett. Their marriage spanned 38 years, and in that time they had 13 children. Isabella herself was a tenacious person. Her story and her parents' story we'll cover later. John Thomas and Isabella purchased 100 acres of land in Longwood. We believe this was about 1890, and they lived on that property until around 1900-1901. From letters we've discovered, it appears that John actually lived in Euroa for most of the week, working his timber mill, while Isabella ran the farm and looked after the children. The current owner of the property, Jim Threlfall, allowed us to go onto the property, and he gave us a lot of information. It was his grandfather that bought the property off John Thomas. When Jim's grandfather took over the property, they moved the house from its position on the property and took it 20 kilometres away. Nobody had lived there since John Thomas and Isabella sold the property. The current owner, Jim, allowed us to fossick for any mementos from that family period of time. When John's mother lost her money when the bank went bust, John, Isabella and the children moved into Euroa with his mother in Kalari. They lived there each for the rest of their lives. Isabella lived there until 1920. John was to live there until 1945. After Isabella's passing in 1920, John was cared for by his daughter Elizabeth. Her husband had died in 1914, and Elizabeth and her children had lived with John and looked after him until his dying days. The town of Euroa recognises John Thomas Saxon and his achievements. His records can be found in the museum, newspapers and history of the town. A dedicated family man all his life, John was loved and respected by all. He now lays in the Euroa cemetery with his wife Isabella.